6. Reports of power outages and forest fires are coming in as high winds batter the region. Strong storms are also possible overnight. We continue our severe weather alert day. Meteorologist Evan Hatter has the latest. Evan?
That's right, Steve. We continue to watch very gusty winds work through the mountains so far this evening. We've already seen gusts better than 40 miles per hour in some spots. Looking outside right now, we see our greatest gusts remain in that 30 to 40 mile per hour range. We see that here as we continue to watch the potential for some of those gusts. We're now gusting to 40 miles per hour in London, 44 miles per hour in Richmond. Peak gusts in our area so far from the Kentucky Mesonet around 41 miles per hour at both sites in Breathitt County and Wayne County at this hour. That's helping fuel the fire danger. As we head through the evening hours, a fire weather warning in effect. We have warm temperatures into the 80s in many spots, gusty winds, and that's why we're seeing the potential for some of those fires. We see a few. If you see those little puffs almost, they look like puffs of smoke, and that's kind of what they are. On pinpoint Doppler, we had some into portions of Breathitt County, a couple there in Breathitt County, one in northern portions of Perry County. We've also been watching one throughout the afternoon and evening into portions of Lee County, Virginia. That has been going for several hours, and of course, we've been watching our colleagues down at WVLT in Knoxville with the latest coverage on fires near the Gatlinburg area. Not only that, but that's ahead of a strong system that dropped what sounded like a confirmed tornado not too long ago into portions of Jackson, Mississippi. We've been watching our sister station's coverage there from WLBT, the affiliate in Jackson, and they're in their 5 o'clock news right now, but they had some camera views a little bit earlier of those storms. That whole system continues to march to the east. Severe thunderstorm warnings coming out for far west Kentucky, which is also under a tornado watch. So we'll continue to see the windy conditions tonight, showers and storms as we fall to around 60 as those storms work in. I'll have the timing on those coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you very much. A brush fire in Breathitt County is still burning, but under control. Fire Chief Tim Osborne of the Watts Caney Fire and Rescue tell us that the brush fire broke out near Hardshell Caney Road near Fugate Cemetery. Firefighters are still at the scene. It's not known if any homes were ever in danger. No injuries have been reported. We'll keep you updated on this or any other big fires we hear about on WYMT.com. Now again, that fire is under control in Breathitt County. We're told it did not damage any structures. Unfortunately, though, fires are raging in counties across the region and neighboring states as well. Evan was just talking about the situation down near Gatlinburg. Firefighters are urging you to listen to burn bans.
Call 911 at the first sign of trouble, because we would much rather respond to something that, isn't really a problem for us than we would responding in your house be completely on fire.
Baker also advised people who need to evacuate their home during a fire to close all of the doors on the way out. This is the best way to slow the spread of a fire. Well, we are seeing a few power outages in our region this afternoon and early this evening. As of 6 o'clock, the Commonwealth has about 8,000 outages statewide, and there's a map showing they're pretty much spread out across central and eastern Kentucky. The counties that are not in blue are the ones seeing a few outages. You see Letcher County, one of those, and our own Brandon Robinson had said he doesn't have power at his house. So they're just scattered across the region right now. It certainly could be a lot worse, and we hope it doesn't get a lot worse. But the winds, as Evan mentioned, are going to be howling for a few more hours. So you can go and find more details on power outages on this story on WYMT.com. Now, power crews are keeping a close eye on the changing weather conditions. WYMT's Dakota Makris explains how crews are ready to respond to any outages that may come their way.
Power crews are preparing for the difficulties that come with moving out of the winter season and into spring,
which is thunderstorms and high winds. And then in this particular case, there is the fire warnings that are out. So we are monitoring closely the weather.
The National Weather Service issued a wind advisory for the region Wednesday morning, reporting some could see wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour at times. putting power crews on high alert since winds that strong could bring power lines and poles down.
The National Weather Forecast estimates around 30 to 40-mile winds for our service territory. So we are preparing by making sure that we have all of our personnel ready and on call. We have all of our trucks fueled up, ready to go.
A red flag warning was also put into effect Wednesday afternoon, meaning predicted conditions could contribute to fires spreading more easily than average. Power officials say while they are ready to respond to any incidents as soon as possible, if a fire gets near or damages lines, they have to wait for the all clear from fire crews.
Depending on how severe the fire is, the pole may be burnt on the outside, but it's perfectly stable and can remain there. Other equipment, we do have to assess that to make sure that the strength and integrity of that line is still good.
A Kentucky Power spokesperson says they have cameras on their towers to help monitor equipment, making sure they have every resource ready to go.
Our transmission teams are preparing for that and double checking and making sure everything is working properly and that way they can respond quickly.
Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
The spring forest fire season runs until the end of April. During that time, it is illegal to burn between the hours of 6 in the morning and 6 at night within 150 feet of any woodland or brushland areas. But right now, pretty much should not burn at any time. Well, new renovations are coming to downtown Harlan. The Harlan County Community Foundation partnered with several businesses and officials to turn the old Belk building downtown into a multi-use space. The first part of the project includes making sure the building is safe.
So the first project we did with this building is worked with Southeast to do a training on how to do commercial roofing and got the building roofed, because that's the biggest thing with an old building like this is keep the rain out of it.
Now, fundraising to complete the project is still ongoing with no completion date set yet. We'll have more on what the building could be used for in the future coming up at 11. Police in Louisa arrested a woman this morning after discovering that the car she was driving was reported stolen last month. Police say they arrested 33-year-old Shelley Ann Collins. While investigating, police say they found 3 pounds of meth, 4 ounces of marijuana, 1 ounce of heroin, scales, and small baggies. She was taken to the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. In Laurel County, 39-year-old Richard Travis Francione was arrested on assault charges yesterday. Police say they were called to look into a domestic fight. Once they arrived, they found a woman bleeding from her forehead, and she claimed her attacker ran off. Police were able to locate Francione. Police also found drug paraphernalia on Francione when they were searching him. GMS mine repair and maintenance officials made a stop in Pike County today. They are trying to find the next generation of miners. GMS officials held a job fair at the Pike County Library. The job fair was aimed at bringing in inexperienced green hat miners or inexperienced red hat miners from surrounding states. Officials say the coal industry is booming right now and demand for workers is high.
Coal is certainly booming nowadays. Now, whereas there was 0 jobs available, like you said, several years ago, whereas now we're looking for upwards of 60 to 80 people down here in my area alone.
Toller said prospective miners will also have required training through Southern West Virginia Community and Technical College, but will be immediately placed in a job in as little as 2 weeks. A new state budget that takes advantage of billions in surplus money is on its way to the governor for his approval. Both House and Senate gave approval to the executive branch budget that gives out a lot of state worker raises and across-the-board education increases. This comes as lawmakers are about to leave town for a veto break. WYMT's Phil Pendleton is live at the state capitol for us tonight. Good evening, Phil.
Good evening, Steve. Yes, that budget totals $31 billion, has in it what some say is historic investments in education. But today, as there always is, there was some debate, especially on the Senate floor, but it did pass unanimously in the Senate. That happened just before noon, and late this afternoon, the House followed suit in approving the 2-year spending plan 93-3. Despite its unanimous approval in the Senate, some were not satisfied.
We funded full-day kindergarten. That is a fantastic thing. but we didn't fund universal pre-K. Every child in Kentucky should have a public preschool option.
We do not have the infrastructure in the Commonwealth within our public school systems to support public universal pre-K.
The House Budget Chair said more than 50% of the general fund focuses on education, and state workers will get an 8% raise the first year and could get up to 12% the second. There's money to match federal projects with the Brent Spence Bridge and the Mountain Parkway. Some question leaving money for the future income tax relief in House Bill 8.
And I say we could have done all this because there's $1 billion of unspent general fund revenue in this budget for tax cuts that benefit the wealthiest Kentuckians.
If we're up to the minority members of this chamber, they'd spend it all and probably borrow more to keep spending more.
All right, looks like Phil is frozen on us, but some Democrats in the Senate also said they had not had time to review the final budget bill. Senate President Robert Stiver has fired back, saying Democrats were invited to the table and it was a far cry from what it was decades ago when Republicans had no time to review the budget and then were punished with the lack of money in their districts if they voted against the budget. Well, the legislature passing the budget now leaves open the possibility of overriding any line item vetoes by the governor. As far as I know, we have not heard from the governor yet about what he's going to do with the budget. Students at the University of Pikeville announced a new donation drive today, one that specializes in helping people celebrate. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more about a new initiative to slice off a little love for people in need.
The bears are building up blessings one box at a time.
Honestly rare, to see this, because you see clothing drives, you see other food drives, but to see like a birthday cake box drive. So I feel like that's a need that sometimes people aren't, made aware of.
Students from the University of Pikeville Student Social Workers Association are asking the community to donate to the birthday cake box drive.
It's not something I really would have thought about. I would have thought about doing, canned food or other things that people normally do. But I thought it was a really unique need, and I think it's really interesting. I think it's a great project, and it's a great way for the community to get involved.
Each birthday cake box includes cake mix, icing, candles, and a can of Sprite, placed inside of a foil cake pan, giving everything needed to make the birthday dish, replacing the milk and eggs with a little soda.
I actually did not even know that myself until I recently, saw the post on Facebook. And so actually even within the boxes we're going to contain the recipe.
Those boxes will be placed in blessing boxes around the city, making them available to anyone in need, in hopes that someone's special day will be a little sweeter.
Some of my fondest memories of when I was, was a young child and my mom would throw like a birthday party for me, with all my family there. And so I feel like that's why it's also so special to me, is like birthday parties in my family are kind of like a big thing, like a big celebration.
The students say it is not really about providing cakes.
That is what the heart of social work is, to see a need in your community, to do your best to alleviate it, do what you can to help those in need.
It is about proving to someone
We'll have to look at how they packed them on Facebook.
that someone else cares. In Pikeville, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
You can contact Jamie Young at jamie.young@upike.edu. Donations can also be dropped off at the UPike Student Success Office in the Administration Building.
Storms are on the way as we head into later tonight. I've got the very latest on the way next. Stick around.
And we'll share with you how one local professor made an out-of-this-world discovery. That stellar story next.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen, customized to the categories you choose.